Have you ever stopped to think about what a dog feels when it's left behind? Not just forgotten, but deliberately abandoned? This isn't just another sad story about a stray dog. It's a true story, a heartbreaking story that shows the cruelest and purest face of love. This is Max, an ordinary dog in the eyes of many, but one who carried within him something that few human beings manage to hold on to: hope. Max lived with the Souza family in a small town in the countryside. He didn't know luxury, but he also never knew what loneliness was. He slept at the foot of the bed, following in the footsteps of his owner, little Leo. Everywhere in the house, the joy in his eyes, his tail always wagging, that typical energy of a dog that lives for love. But life sometimes changes without warning. And Max, without understanding anything, was put inside a car on a cold Tuesday morning. The sky was grey, as if it already knew what was about to happen. The road was long and silent. Max looked out the window as if he wanted to memorize every curve, every tree, every smell. Maybe he sensed something was wrong, or maybe he just wanted to make sure he would return. But he didn't. On the side of a deserted road, the car stopped. The door opened, and Max was gently called to get out. He got out, wagging his tail, happy as always. He thought it was just another ride, a game, or perhaps a new adventure with his owner. But the car drove off, without warning, without looking back. And there Max stood, still, confused, not running, just watching as if waiting for an explanation, as if silently pleading, "Come back, take me with you." There was no barking, there was no crying, just silence. Max stayed in that same place for hours, then days, and then weeks. People passing by saw a dog sitting by the side of the road, a dog that wasn't eating, wasn't drinking properly, and refused affection. As if it were waiting for someone specific, as if that place had become its only link to what it called home. Many didn't know his name, but he refused to leave, and every day at the same time he was left, he would get up and look at the road, with eyes full of longing and a heart full of hope. Because for Max, there was still a chance. There was still the possibility that his owner would return. He believed in it so strongly that even time, even hunger, even the cold were unable to convince him otherwise. And this is where it all begins. Because what Max felt wasn't just longing, it was love. And what comes next will prove that the love of dogs is the purest form of loyalty that exists. Days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, and Max was still there. Rain, sun, intense cold, or scorching heat, nothing could make him give up. His gaze was always the same, lost on the horizon, waiting for something or someone that might never return. Some people began to notice that dog that wasn't moving. He was known by the locals as the dog on the bend, always in the same spot on the road, always with the same look, a look that even without words said it all. I still believe. And you? Do you still believe we can be better with them? At this moment, if this story has touched your heart in any way, please leave a like. It's not just a button pressed. It's a sign that stories like Max's need to be told. Subscribe to the channel to keep following real moving stories that remind us that animals feel, suffer, and above all, truly love. And more than that, comment below with the phrase, "We're going to change this." Because every comment is a cry of hope. Every word you type shows that there are still people willing to fight for a fairer world for our four-legged companions. This story isn't over yet, and you'll understand why. What happened to Max after all that time by the side of the road is something you need to see for yourself. Time passed, but he never left. Max had transformed that roadside corner into his new home. A home without walls, without comfort, without affection. Just him, the wind, the dust of the road, and hope. Every day he got up at the same time, looked in the same direction, and waited. He always waited. It was as if each sunrise brought along with the sun the possibility of seeing again the only face he loved. The same face that disappeared inside a car and never returned. Rain, sun, nothing made Max give up. Not time, not hunger, not abandonment. The locals began to notice the lonely dog. Some tried to approach him, offered him food, tried to take him home. But Max wouldn't let anyone touch him. He never reacted aggressively, never. But he also didn't accept anyone's affection. He ate little, and only when hunger overcame him, but he never strayed far from there. It was as if that spot on the road was sacred, a link to the past, a place where he could still smell the car, where he believed that one day whoever left him would return. There was a lady, Donna Dalva, who tried for days to take him home. She brought him pieces of chicken, spoke to him affectionately, sat on the ground near him. But Max would only look at her for a moment, and then again turn his face towards the road, as if to say, "You're not the one I'm waiting for." And so it went, one day after another. Max stood there, steadfast, even when the wind seemed to cut like a knife. Even when the thunder frightened the other dogs, he never left his spot. He never gave up. He was the very image of loyalty, of pain, of longing. People began to tell his story. At the nearby gas station, taxi drivers talked about the dog that was waiting. Motorcycle couriers said, "He's still there, on the curve." It was as if he were already part of the landscape, like a living monument to waiting, a sculpture of flesh, bone, and feeling, shaped by absence. One day a child passing by with his father asked, "Dad, why doesn't that dog go away?" And the father, with tears in his eyes, replied, "Because he still thinks someone will come back to get him." That was Max. The dog that was abandoned but never stopped loving. With each passing car, he would stand up. He didn't run, he didn't bark, he just watched. He fixed his gaze as if trying to see through the glass, searching for a familiar face. And when he realized it wasn't who he expected, he lowered his ears and lay down again. Another day without answers, another night of loneliness. For months, this repeated itself. The road became Max's world, and he became a symbol of something many humans seem to have forgotten: the capacity to love beyond abandonment, to remain faithful, even when everything around tells you to give up. It's hard to watch something like this and not wonder, how long will he wait? How long will he resist? But the answer, curiously, isn't in time, it's in Max's heart. Because his love has no expiration date, it has no logic. It's a love that simply is. And perhaps that's what touches us most in this story. Because the truth is that many of us have been left behind, by friends, by family, by loved ones, and deep down we understand this silent waiting, this hope that hurts but doesn't die. Max isn't just a dog waiting for his owner. He's a reflection of everything we hold on to when someone leaves, and we remain there, steadfast, believing that one day everything will be all right. He doesn't understand why he was left behind, and perhaps he never will. But even so, he chose to wait. And in that choice, he shows us what unconditional love is, what surrender is, what loyalty to the end is. And look, if you've made it this far, if you're feeling this tightness in your chest, this urge to hug Max, to cry with him, I need to ask you something, not for myself, but for all dogs like him. Leave a comment below. It doesn't have to be long. It can just be, "Go Max," or even, "I believe in the love of dogs." Or, if you were truly touched, write, "I've waited that long too." Because your story matters. And when we share our pain, it weighs less. Each comment shows that Max is not alone, that there are still people who care, people who feel, people who recognize that dogs, even though they are animals, often love much more than we humans do. And if you haven't liked it yet, now's the time. Because a like helps this video reach more people, and more people need to know this story. They need to remember that loyalty exists, That true love is silent, persistent, and sometimes waits on the side of the road. Subscribe to the channel too, because there are more stories like this coming. Real, exciting, sad stories, but stories that show the most beautiful side of our four-legged companions, and you won't want to miss them. But wait, because Max's story isn't over yet. In the next part, you'll discover what happened when time began to take its toll, and that's where everything changes. Days turned into months, and months little by little transformed into years. The surrounding landscape changed, the road was repaved, trees fell, others grew. But Max remained. The same gaze, the same posture, the same silence heavy with longing. It was as if time had stopped for him, as if nothing around him mattered, as long as he was there at that exact spot where he saw his world depart for the last time. But time, the same time he seemed to ignore, did not forget him. His once shiny fur began to lose its luster. His eyes, once bright, now held a duller gleam, as if the hope within was beginning to mingle with weariness. Max no longer ran when he heard the sound of an engine. He would simply get up, look, wait, and as always, go back to bed. On days of heavy rain, he sought shelter under a nearby tree. On freezing nights, he curled up shivering, but without abandoning his mission. Several NGOs and animal rescuers tried to rescue him. A young woman named Claudia even spent hours with him, offering food, affection, and a blanket. But Max wouldn't give in. He accepted the food out of necessity, but not the affection. He seemed to have reserved his affection for only one person. People started sharing his story on social media. Photos of him by the roadside circulated online. The dog who never left his spot. The saddest weight in the world. Loyalty beyond pain. He became news on blogs, animal protection pages, and adoption groups. Many were moved. Some even went there just to meet him. But Max wasn't seeking attention. He only wanted one thing, the return of the person who abandoned him. And that return never came. Max's body began to show signs of exhaustion. He no longer ate properly. He walked with more difficulty. His paws trembled. His breathing was heavier. And yet, every day he would get up, walk to the side of the road, look at the road, and wait. Until one cold morning when the sun had barely risen, Claudia, the girl who had tried to take him so many times before, passed by again. She was on her way to a rescue in another city, and for some reason she decided to stop. She sat on the ground, as she had done before. Max was lying there, quiet. But when he saw her, he slowly got up and walked towards her. His steps were slow, his tail barely moved, and for the first time he rested his head in her lap. Claudia cried. She understood in that gesture that Max had given up waiting. Or perhaps he had realized that that embrace, even if it wasn't what he had dreamed of, was what he needed. She took him with her. She wrapped him in a soft blanket, placed him in the back seat of the car, and drove off. On the way, Max kept his eyes fixed on the window, as he always did. But this time, there was no more tension. There was a certain relief, a kind of quiet peace. Max lived with Claudia for the next 3 months. She took him to the vet, gave him baths, good food, a warm bed, but above all, she gave him something he hadn't received in a long time: love. A calm, present, unhurried love. A love that respected his time, his scars, his past. In recent days, Max had not been getting up as easily. He spent most of his time sleeping. But whenever he heard the sound of a car approaching, he would open his eyes, by reflex, by instinct, or perhaps still by hope. And then, on a serene morning, with the sun gently warming the veranda, Max closed his eyes and never opened them again. He passed away peacefully, without pain, without suffering. He simply rested. But before that, she lived long enough to show that true love never dies. It may fall silent, it may withdraw, it may get hurt, but it never ceases to exist. Max wasn't just a dog. He was a symbol, a living reminder that the loyalty of dogs transcends all logic, that even when hurt, betrayed, or abandoned, they continue to love. Because that's what dogs do. They love, without demanding, without expecting anything in return. They just love. And now, if you've made it this far, I want to ask you something very simple. Comment below. It can be just a sentence, a word, but leave something for Max, for all dogs like him. Write, "I would never leave," or "The love of dogs is eternal." Or if you prefer, "Thank you, Max." These comments show that he wasn't invisible, that his story touched hearts, and more than that, they show that there are still people who feel, who understand, who value. Leave your comment. Like this video if it touched you in any way. Share it with someone who loves animals. And if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe now, because here we tell stories that need to be heard. Real stories. Moving stories. Stories that remind us that love, even in silence, never dies.